All right, everybody, welcome tonight. We're going to get this started. We got a action-packed hour here tonight, so I'm going to get you guys going. I just want to thank you for being here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for the SPUR Series, how the Dumb Friends League and CSU are working together. We hope the sun is shining bright wherever you are and that your Ram pride remains strong. We hope this program provides you some inspiration, and thank you for tuning in tonight. Welcome and thank you for being here. Please put where you're watching in from in the comments. We like to hear where you're watching in from and what year you graduated. All right, let's see. I want to thank all our participants tonight. Please, whoops, I'm getting all mixed up. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so many of our attendees tonight are Alumni Association members, and I want to thank you all for joining in. Your donations and your help us put on events like this. And so if you're not a member, feel free to scan right here. Read more about membership, how it helps out us host events like these. And it provides an opportunity to continue education for our alumni. All right, here we go. In just a moment, I'll put in the comments my contact information if you're having any trouble with technology. And after this event, we will be sending out a recording of this webinar with additional resources in the next week. So be on the lookout for that. Later on in the event, I'll put in the link in the chat for a survey just to get some feedback on what you thought of this event. And now I'm excited to introduce to you guys tonight's speaker. Dr. Steele is the president and CEO of the Dumb Friends League in Denver. After practicing veterinary medicine for 18 years, she had the honor of joining the league in 2014 to advocate for animals who are vulnerable due to homelessness, mistreatment, and for the owner's financial situations. Since becoming the CEO in 2018, she has overseen the expansion of the league's impact to include veterinary hospitals that provides subsidized veterinary care to underserved pet caregivers, soon to be two, led a $43 million shelter renovation, helped develop socially conscious animal community framework, and enhance animal welfare opportunities in rural Colorado. She is currently a board member of the Association of Animal Welfare Advancement and Certified Animal Welfare Administrator. Apryl served as a delegate for the American Veterinary Medicine Association. She is the past president of the Colorado Veterinary Medicine Association, the Denver Area Veterinary Medical Society, the Animal Assistance Foundation, and the American Association of Feline Practitioners. Apryl is also a veteran of the United States Army Veterinary Corps. Also, following this presentation tonight, we'll have an open discussion and Q&A. So feel free to put your questions in the chat, and I'll pop in and ask Apryl during our presentations. Without further ado, let me switch it over here to Apryl. I would like to welcome Apryl for her presentation tonight.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. It's so good to be here, and it would be so much fun to see faces, and I know on this platform I can't. So I'm going to be talking at a computer screen. I need your help. Please put questions in the chat so this can be interactive, and we can make sure we get to the information that you would like to hear. So as Ryan said, I'm Dr. Apryl Steele, and I am a very proud RAM, a 1997 graduate of the College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, and that seems like a very long time ago. I know, I don't look like I could be, just kidding. I'm sure I do, especially after COVID. So I want to talk a little bit tonight about Colorado State University's collaborations with the Dumb Friends League and how working together we're making a difference in our community in so many ways. I feel like this is one of those relationships that is very mutually beneficial and is increasing each of our impact. I have a short PowerPoint, but I thought we'd spend some time going through a little bit about who the league is so you understand why we're collaborating and where these missions intersect. So the Dumb Friends League, first and foremost, I always have to tell people who don't know the Dumb Friends League that our name does not mean that animals are not smart. Our name comes from England, and we were formed in 1910, where dumb was used as not having the power of human speech. So we are speaking for those who cannot speak. And that's something that we take very seriously. And that's why we've maintained the name for so many years. But we think animals are very intelligent, and we have all of the respect for animals. Our mission is working with our compassionate community. We will end pet homelessness and animal suffering. Big mission. And animal suffering is an interesting phrase there, because historically it's been cruelty and neglect investigations, but more and more animals are suffering just because people either don't understand the best way to care for them or don't have the resources to provide care for their pets. And animals and people help each other so very much get through things like a pandemic. Everybody should have the right to have a relationship with an animal, but how do we ensure that that animal is getting the care it needs during that, in those situations? So animal suffering has grown as a mission from just within the shelter and just in severe situations to incorporate really people throughout our entire community. And we'll get into that a little bit more in this conversation. We have several locations, as you can see. Our Leslie A. Malone Center is our flagship shelter. It's 111,000 square feet in Denver, at Quebec and Evans. And we just finished a $43 million renovation. The place is beautiful. We serve about 18,000 animals a year through that space. And on most days, we receive 58 animals from our community. And those are animals that are either stray or people can no longer care for them. And we have 19 veterinarians on staff, 8 behavior experts. We give them the care that they need. What we are grateful for is that we are a socially conscious shelter, which means we never have to make euthanasia decisions based on time or space. We don't say, oh, this animal's been here X number of days, weeks, months, or that we're full of kennels. Luckily, our community supports our work and does a lot of adopting, so we're not having to face those difficult decisions. And if it's the right thing for the animal, we're making them adoptable and putting them into our community. The times that we don't do that is when an animal is really suffering and there's nothing we can do to help them physically, or if they're unsafe for our community. We also have the Buddy Center, which is a shelter in Castle Rock, and it's also accepts and adopts and has all of the services that the Malone Center has. Our Harmony Equine Center we'll talk about a bit more in just a little bit, but that's a very unique program in Colorado. And it was formed because there were cruelty and neglect situations with horses throughout our state. And while the sheriffs in these communities really wanted to advocate for those animals, they were having a lot of trouble doing so because they couldn't impound them. They had nowhere to take them. You can't take them to the county jail. So we created this facility. We partner with 54 counties of the 55 of the 64 counties in Colorado. And at no fee to any of the jurisdictions, we will help them investigate animal cruelty. We will help transport. We will hold cats, dogs, and now even horses until a court case or a legal case has completed its course. And if the animals are turned over to the sheriff's office, then they usually sign those animals over to us, and we heal them and train them and adopt them. About 200 horses a year go through this program. So it's a pretty intense program, and it's one of the spaces that I'm going to talk about our collaborations with CSU in just a few minutes. The veterinary hospital at Yuma is our hospital for the underserved community, and that's about 2nd and Federal in central Denver. And we'll go into more detail about that hospital soon. And the spay-neuter clinic is at that location. It will be moving over to SPUR in January. So we're going to be moving that facility. We do spay and neuter for cats at that facility. We do 40 to 60 a day, and we charge $20. So it's very inexpensive. It does not cover our costs, but it's because we see overpopulation in cats. And then just a couple months ago, we opened a animal center in the San Luis Valley. It's a full service shelter in Alamosa because there weren't any great solutions in that part of our state for some of the animal welfare issues that were being faced. Our annual budget's about $30 million. We just got it passed last week, and that's for fiscal year 22, which starts in a week on July 1st. Our funding is 90% donations, 10% fees. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of community support that we appreciate and we are so grateful for. We have what I call mission convergence when we talk about Colorado State University and the Dumb Friends League mission. And I think we do this in several areas. Veterinarians take an oath to prevent suffering and to treat suffering. And that's something that we believe deeply in, and so does CSU. Education, obviously, that's what Colorado State University is all about. And we do quite a bit of humane education as well, serving over about 16,000 students every year and teaching them how to be good pet parents. We talk about anti-bullying and other interesting and hopefully classes that help students and adults become future pet owners that are responsible and doing right by the animals. We all want to increase diversity in veterinary medicine and in animal welfare. Both professions are woefully white and quite dominantly female. And we are working really hard to change that. We have voices that we're not hearing because of that. We have communities we're not serving well because of that. And it's past time to get that to a better place. And then both CSU and Dumb Friends League are teaching future veterinarians and veterinary technicians. So we'll talk a little bit about how we're doing that together. So there's some current collaborations, and this slide shows some pictures, especially of the Harmony Equine Center. You can see in this picture I'm circling now, it's kind of hard to see what's going on there, but there's a horse's head here, and there's one student's holding the head and the other one's doing dental work on the horse. You can imagine that's quite the process. Senior veterinary students learn all about what to do and how to do it, but to actually get to do it is not as common. And so several times a year, the equine services section of the veterinary school comes down to the Harmony Equine Center with a group of students, and they get to actually do hands-on work with these animals. Here they're gelding a horse, and this is something that they won't get to do a whole lot. This is one of the students' favorite day. Another collaboration we have is with the Temple Grandin Equine Assisted Therapy Program. And our collaboration there is they will often get horses from Harmony. So horses that have been turned over to us, they've been healed. We often have to put on 300 or 400 pounds on horses that have been starved. They're healthy, they're strong, they've developed their muscle tone. They will go into the Temple Grandin Equine Assisted Therapy Program and then be trained to serve as assisted therapy animals. So really great program. Sometimes they get adopted through that program, and sometimes they get returned back to us, but they have new skills and then they're highly adoptable once they come back to us. So it's a win-win there. We've also been doing some clinics in the community. So the communities right around the National Western Center project, the SPUR project, are often underserved communities, and we have collaborated with senior veterinary students and clinicians of CSU, and then our veterinarians to do vaccine clinics, wellness clinics, and exams on animals in these communities to start building relationships with our neighbors, and also to help students get some more hands-on experience. Through our veterinary hospital at Yuma, we are doing quite a bit of collaboration. And so I want to talk just for a minute about that. So this hospital is called Dumb Friends League Veterinary Hospital at Yuma. It was called Solutions until recently, and we just thought there were way too many syllables in that title. So we changed the name, and it's the hospital at Yuma. It has been a subsidized veterinary hospital for decades. The Dumb Friends League took over about 3 years ago. And I remember in 1997, I did an externship when it was Harrison Memorial Animal Hospital. And I had the opportunity to do so many surgeries. It was a warm place in my heart, a really good experience. then went through a couple iterations, became pet aid, and then we took it over. And our connection with students at this hospital has grown and grown, and it's been really great to see. So we have 2 veterinary students do 2-week rotations for most weeks throughout the year. When we took over, this was probably about 30% of those opportunities were filled. And for this upcoming academic year, every single week has been filled and the program is full. So we're super excited about how students are gaining experience and telling each other about these experiences. But this hospital is for urgent care for sick animals. It is not for animals that are owned by people that can afford their care. It's only for people that cannot afford that care. And we'll go into a little bit more detail. But what that means is we're seeing really interesting cases, unfortunately, often cases that weren't addressed when they first started being a problem in the animal, or cases that intact animals have, cases that don't really show up at the university because the university has a patient load of animals that have been through a primary care practitioner, a referral hospital, and now they're coming to CSU for pretty major treatments and extensive treatments. So veterinary students don't always get experience with what they're going to see every day in practice, and this gives them that opportunity. So through this hospital, we serve low-income households and sometimes even pet owners that are homeless. It's for urgent care, and during the pandemic, we made it 100% urgent care. And the reason for that is we would have appointments for a vaccine or a wellness appointment, which we really believe in the value of. But then we'd have a line of people at our door that had animals that had an intestinal obstruction, having trouble breathing, urgent things that needed to be seen right then. And we couldn't see them because we had all these other appointments. So we opened it up, especially with the economic challenges of the pandemic. We were seeing an incredible demand for services. And often the people that come to us have no other option. The only other option is economic euthanasia at a veterinary hospital because they can't afford the care. So we started we would start a first come, first serve basis, and we would start checking in patients around 7:30 in the morning. And what we have found is kind of sad. We have people lining up for services often at 4:30 because they really want to make sure their animal gets care. And often by 8:30 or 9 in the morning, we have as many animals as we can see for the entire day, despite having a 7-doctor practice. So it is very sad that not everyone that wants care can get care. And we don't ever turn anyone away because they cannot pay. We turn them away because we reach capacity, but not because they cannot pay. We also serve referring veterinarians who see clients and they make a diagnosis and the pet owner can't afford the treatment. And often those veterinarians will refer over to us, and we'll get them in the same way we get other folks in and treat those animals as best we can. We've had veterinarians say that we give them hope because of the stress and the moral distress that happens when they don't have a way to offer care for an animal that seeks their care. So that's been really important to us to have those collaborations. And our medicine that we perform is what we call effective medicine. So we're not going to do the 36 tests so that we can get the 1%. We're going to say, okay, 95% of animals that present this way have this going on. These are the few tests we can do to confirm that. We have a good assuredness that this is probably what's happening. Well, here's the treatment, and here's what you need to watch for. And if the animal's not getting better, then we can look at some other testing. But we have to be really mindful that the resources are limited and address these cases very thoughtfully. We also want to enhance the dignity of everybody with whom we interact. And so we take the time to talk to our clients and make sure that they understand the care for their patients. We are seeing a lot of animals. At Yuma, we see about 6,000 animals a year for urgent care, and we're going to see about 6,000 more when we open SPUR. So our veterinary hospital at SPUR, I'm going to go into more detail about that one soon, is super exciting because it's going to double our capacity to serve this population. It is still going to serve only those who cannot afford care. We're going to have to do a little bit different screening because it's going to be a beautiful veterinary hospital, and people are going to want to bring their pets to it because it's going to be top of the line, and we still have to fulfill our mission. So we're still going to focus on those who can't afford care. We are also moving our spay-neuter clinic over. We expect to do about 14,000 highly subsidized spays and neuters, and we have a community clinic. So when we moved the wellness care and the vaccinations out of the hospital, we didn't just stop doing it. We do those in a drive-through system that we created during COVID that's highly effective in the priority neighborhoods. And we expect to be able to do exams and vaccinations for 8,600 pets in priority neighborhoods. These are all opportunities that veterinary students from CSU partner with us on and get to gain experience that will help them be better veterinarians when they graduate. The experience that the students are having warms my heart. I read what they say about it, and these are 3 examples, but I get to see probably 100 of these every quarter or every semester, and it's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. It's exceeding the expectations of the veterinary students. They're getting experiences they're not getting anywhere else. We're also we're looking at how we can partner in a new way, because in the junior year of veterinary school, forever, there has been a non-survival surgery lab where most students got most of their surgery skills, but then those animals ended up being euthanized. For animal welfare reasons, they're stopping that. They're not doing those anymore, but these students really need to get these experience and these surgical skills so that they can do it when they're out on their own and when they graduate. So we're partnering to try to fill that void and make sure they're getting those skills. And we're thrilled to be able to make that change and help support it. So SPUR, I know you guys know probably quite a bit about SPUR. Can't tell you how excited we are about this project. We are in the health building of the SPUR project. So of the 3 buildings, we are next to the Temple Grandin Equine Center. And in December, they're going to complete construction of our hospital space. Around December 17th is the first day we're going to be able to walk into this space and figure out, where do our chairs go? How do we stock the drawers? How do we flow in this hospital? And within 2 weeks, the National Western Rodeo and Stock Show starts. So we expect to see about 750,000 people go through this space in just over a 2-week period right after we moved in. So no stress about figuring this out, but it'll be great. And our partnership with CSU has been really fantastic here. CSU is building the building, and they have paid for the entire capital construction. They are leasing it to us for $1 a year, and then we're paying overhead and maintenance, and then all of the programming in the space. So we're going to be investing about $3 million a year in this program to provide this care to the communities and double up how we can do this. We are also doubling up the student opportunity. So while we right now have 2 students going through every 2-week rotation, we're going to have 4 students go through every 2-week rotation. At SPUR on the 2nd level up here, we have there's dormitory for the students. So they'll get to stay right above the hospital, and 2 students will be seeing this population of owned animals coming through and needing urgent care. And 2 students are going to be at the shelters and see what we do with the shelters, really get a better sense of animal welfare. There'll also be opportunities to learn about behavior and do more dental work at the shelters. And those are 2 things that the university have asked that their students get more exposure to. So we're really excited about having them rotate through both the shelter and the hospital. So this is what excites me about this project. As you can see here, people are going to walk in this door, and this is all going to be educational space. There are going to be exhibits, there's artwork, and then in this room, which looks a little unusual from the top, it's just a room where kids and adults can come in and learn, go through a case and think through a case and see x-rays and read about what's going on with the animal, and maybe even do a mock exam and make a diagnosis and see how a veterinarian goes through a medical process to make a diagnosis. Then over here, this is the wall that is the boundary between the humane education space and our hospital. And the hospital goes much further back here, that's not shown. But the unique piece to this is that this wall is glass right here. So you can see this over here in this picture. And this space is our surgery suite. So we're going to be doing advanced procedures in this area, whether it be an abdominal exploratory or an amputation, or bladder surgery to take out bladder stones. This is going to be the area that we do that in. There are video screens up here. You can see them up here. They'll show radiographs or show a microscopic view of the cells of a tumor that we're removing, and really help people understand what's happening in this space. In this room is a dental suite, and so that is going to be where we're doing on view. Anybody can walk in, open to the public, no charge, can watch and see what's happening in the dental suite and see us doing dental work. And then in this last little space is going to be physical exams, and people can watch that. We have a hope that this will engage inner city youth and get inner city folks really excited about STEM careers, animal welfare, and veterinary medicine. We're going to have displays here, and we're working in collaboration with CSU to create these that are going to show, okay, you are in first grade and you want to be a veterinarian, or you want to work in behavior in a shelter. Here's the path from here to there. And here are common ways that people get detoured off the path. And here are ways to get back on the path. So increasing interest by diverse communities in STEM careers is a big goal of this project. Helping people understand what veterinarians actually do and get excited about veterinary medicine is a goal of this project. Helping people understand how to care for their pets and what happens when someone takes their pet at the veterinary hospital into the back, or they leave it for the day and they come home at the end of the day. What really happened? We want to take some of that mystery away. And so this project feels like it's going to be a really special place to do that. Any questions? I know that you would pop them in chat and that Ryan would pop in, and since he's not, I'm going to assume not. But we can also answer them at the end. Ryan, did you have any?
Yes, I got one here. Someone was wondering, will students that go to school and help out at the Dumb Friends League, will they actually have career opportunities after they graduate?
So, oh boy. So this is a conversation I could have forever. There is a huge shortage of veterinarians in the United States and in Colorado specifically. So I will hire as many of them as want to work for us. It feels like, one of the things that we're really slightly anxious about is that this new project is going to require to hire 30 new veterinary professionals. And there's a shortage of veterinarians and veterinary technicians in the country. So it's going to be something that we're doing, so already starting heavy recruiting on, and we want to get people that are really excited about the mission and how it's going to impact the world. So yes, they will have opportunities. We also have internships. So veterinary students that graduate and want to do internships can do that at the Dumb Friends League and through this program as well. And that's going to open up to 4 interns, and those are a year long to help them really understand, get really good at their surgery skills, get really good at their communication skills. But yes, right now, over half of veterinarians in practice feel like they're overemployed, which means they're working way too many hours. They want to cut back. Their employers are not allowing them to do so because the workload is so high. And there's a 2% unemployment in veterinary medicine. So if anyone wants to apply, my last slide of this presentation is a slide to plug for hiring. So nice comment. And the answer is absolutely.
And then another one that I got was, will the people in the community have kind of a priority for services? Is it just kind of first come, first serve, or will they actually have, kind of a little bit of a leg up and being in the area and whatnot?
Yeah. So it's a really good question, and we're still figuring this out. As you can imagine, this space is beautiful, and so many people are going to see it. They're going to want to use the service, and we cannot sway from our mission, and we can't let the people that have no other option not have this option. So we're going to, at Yuma, it's been a subsidized veterinary hospital for so long that the local community knows that, the veterinarians referring to it know that. But here we are looking at how are we going to manage this. So in the first few weeks, when we just moved in and we have 750,000 people looking at how we do surgery in a space that we're just learning how it works, we are actually going to be doing shelter animals for that month. And the reason is we just need to figure out so many things, and we don't have time to do that. One of my big fears that I'm sensitive to is, so you're a pet owner and your pet, you say, yes, my pet can be on view, have surgery. I feel good about how it's going to help people understand what's happening. I'm glad my animal's getting the care that it needs. I want to go on the other side of the window and watch it. I'll be fine. And they're not. I mean, I've seen, I see animals, in 18 years of practice, I would anesthetize 5 to 10 animals a day. And I didn't bother me. But when it was my own animal, it was different. It still bothered me. So to see your own animal intubated and unconscious and move to that table, and how are we going to support that person that's not expecting to have a reaction that they may have? We can't afford to figure that out when there's 750,000 people walking through this space. And it's not kind to do so either. So during that initial, during January, we're going to do shelter animals, and we're going to open it up to all the shelters in the Front Range, and anybody that has an animal that needs surgery. These are owned by the shelters, or we're going to be able to avoid that situation. After that point in time, we are going to definitely have veterinarians refer over. So veterinarians that see a client and the owner can't afford the care and it's a treatable, fixable condition, we'll have them pop over. We're going to refer from shelters. So if someone comes to a shelter to relinquish an animal that's sick or injured, and they're doing so only because they can't afford their care, but they have a good bond and this is not what they want to have to do, instead of making them relinquish that animal to the shelter and then investing resources in healing it and then searching for a new adopter, makes no sense whatsoever. We're going to send them over to solutions to get that care. But the third piece of it is, how do we get the local community straight into the program? And so it's something that we're figuring that out. And there are some different ways that CSU is partnering with the local community that we're going to hopefully just dovetail in and make that part of what we do.
Perfect. Well, that's all we got for questions for now. So I'll pop off.
Great. Well, hopefully there'll be more. I love questions because I do feel like I'm talking to myself sometimes. And that's not only during a presentation. So this space is going to be exceptional. On the other side of this wall here is where the Temple Grandin Equine Assisted Therapy Center is. Upstairs is going to be the dormitories and some classrooms and meeting rooms, and our cat spay neuter clinic is moving over to this space as well. We talked a little bit about humane education and education being a place where our mission and CSU's missions transect. And there are quite a few things that our team does at the league now that we're going to be doing over in the new Vida building with the National Western Project. The anti-bullying lessons are something that I just love, and they're near and dear to my heart. So what this is about is, if you show someone a picture of a dog that's missing all its teeth and its tongue is hanging out, the reaction usually is, oh, how cute. And if you show someone a 3-legged dog, they're like, oh. But often when you see a human being missing their teeth and their tongue is hanging out, or you see a human being that is not able-bodied, the reaction isn't similar. It's not as positive sometimes. And so these lessons are about, how can we generalize the empathy we have for animals to our fellow human beings? And also it goes into how you treat animals and don't bully animals. So it has two main messages, and it's really fun to watch students, the kind of light bulb come in, especially young children, and hopefully it's making a difference. We also teach about pet parenting, why we vaccinate, what a vaccine does, why they should get vaccinated, nutrition. Socialization is huge in our community. And, animals that aren't socialized by the time they're 11, 12 weeks old have trouble being socialized. And dangerous animals are one of the things we see as one of our biggest challenges in animal welfare, because often they end up coming to us. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And then when they come to us, if they've created serious harm or killed another animal, it's not ethical for us to place those animals out in the community. And many times if those animals have been socialized as puppies or kittens, anybody else have allergies? Then we can, they don't go through the same issue. So that's been something that's been very important to help people understand. And then basic hygiene. It's surprising how many people don't understand what mats feel like on the skin, how they pull at the skin, or why you need to trim nails. And nails can grow all the way around into the pads and cause infection and pain. We also help people understand what a healthy pet looks like, so they know when they need to seek care. And they don't always, many people don't intuitively get that. More and more, we're going to start doing behavior classes. It's something that we're building our program out to do, and I'm sure will be part of this work here. And I feel like it's really important. Positive reinforcement, and teach people how to get their animals to behave well through reward systems. I believe that if you meet a parent and they're being aggressive with their parenting of their child, and you tell them, oh, you should treat your child differently, and this is how you should do it. There's not really a lot of listening there. It gets very offensive very quickly. But when you're teaching them how to be positive, how to do positive reinforcement with their pet, and they're seeing the reward and the bothersome behaviors that they sought out care about go away, then you start seeing them doing that in other places in their life and with their kids. And I think it can change the world. So we're really excited about doing that as well. But we will have school groups coming through this space. And then we will have different lessons as well. And as I said, as I promised, we're hiring. We are really hiring. If you didn't hear me, we're hiring. We need veterinarians, veterinary technicians, veterinary assistants, customer service representatives, humane educators at the shelter. We need animal care folks that don't need to have any experience. And we have full benefits. We pay well. Unlike most people think that nonprofits don't pay well, we pay very well. And we take care of our team, and people care is one of our main missions. So we are hiring. And if you want to make a difference for the people that we serve, and for veterinary medicine and for animal welfare, please go to ddfl.org and you can find out all about the jobs that are available there. I am going to stop sharing because that's my presentation, but I would love questions if anybody has questions or comments.
All right. So we had one, someone was just wondering, how do you gather funding for all these things? Is it donations, or do you guys do your own fundraising, or what kind of things do you do?
It's a great question. It's a really big part of my job. So when I came over from being a veterinarian, I had no clue what fundraising was all about. And yes, we do fundraise about $15.2 million a year as gifts from our community. So pretty exceptional when you think about a community supporting an animal welfare organization. We have everything from monthly donors to major donors to some foundations give us some gifts. We do not have any government funding. And then we have fees for services that account for about 10% of our income. So not a huge number, but, and that goes up with the hospital. So in each hospital, in each location, both at UMA and at SPUR, it's going to be about a $3 million program with about $1 million to $1.5 million in income. So it's about a net $1.5 million investment in the mission. So that increases our actually fees by a couple million, but also increases our gap that we have to fundraise. And what we see with a program like this is, most people don't know this, but there are not subsidized care for animals that are sick. There's spay, neuter, and vaccine all throughout the country. There's only one other hospital I know of in the country that does this, and it's in New York City. There are some others that have, they might do some heartworm prevention or something like that, but to actually do major surgery and treat these animals that really are in urgent care, they don't do that. So because it's such a unique program and it's new to the league, and then we're actually adding on SPUR, we find that we have to cover the investment with donors for other, our general donors. But over time, people get engaged in that mission and the impact we're having, and then they give to this specific program. So we're in that building phase for both SPUR and UMA to create that support. We have some return on our investments, and we do get estate gifts, which is the biggest honor, because that means people believed in us so much that when we're no longer around to keep track of what we're doing, they wanted their gifts to make a difference in the future. So those are the big ways that we're funded.
Very cool. And then someone was wondering, at this new facility, will there be adoptions available, or is that just going to be at your other main facilities?
Right. So adoptions will not happen at the hospitals. Adoptions will happen at the Malone Center and at the Buddy Center and at the Alamosa shelter. So, and I'm going to do another shameless plug this weekend. So it's fascinating. We're not seeing this pandemic puppy return to the shelter that the national news, and nobody really is. It's just a sexy story that they keep talking about, but it's not true. However, we are seeing a huge increase in relinquishments. These aren't animals that were adopted during the pandemic. A national study was done last week, and it showed 96% of animals adopted during the pandemic are still in their homes. But that doesn't mean that, our lives were on hold for so long, and now life is getting in the way, and people are having to move and make lifestyle changes, and all of it's happening at once. So we are getting a flooding of animals to the shelter. We had over 100 a day last week on certain days. And so this weekend we are doing an adoption event because we have a higher number of animals than we've had in a decade at the shelters. So this week, if you know anyone that's thinking of adopting an animal, it's a name your own adoption fee weekend. You get to say what the adoption fee is, and we have 120 cats and 60 dogs up for adoption. We have 1,600 animals in care, but those are the ones that are healthy enough and ready for adoption. So yeah, not at these hospitals, but at the shelters.
Wow, that is quite a few.
We're seeing so many kittens because spay neuter was on hold for a year, and that makes a difference pretty quickly. So we've had about a 400% increase in kittens coming to us, and they are freaking adorable. So come by, see the kittens.
So what are you most excited for about this new facility? Is there some certain thing that just pops out that you just can't wait to see in person and, be there?
Yeah. I think there's a couple answers to that question. It's interesting when I think about all the people that have animals that are desperately seeking care for them, and they get that care and how grateful they are. And that's more on a one-on-one. Like you hear about it on a high level, and you're like, oh, that's wonderful. But when you see the one person who they get up in the morning because this animal matters to them, and they are about to lose this animal, and that animal can be healed, and your team helps heal it, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty exceptional. So that's one piece, just expanding that opportunity and not having to turn people away. I'm sure we'll still have to turn people away. The need is enormous, but being able to meet more of it. The other piece I'm really looking forward to is stimulating curiosity in children and having them wonder what it might be like. Might I be able to do this? Might I be able to heal an animal or, assist in that process? And how, not every kid gets to have a pet, and how are they going to be exposed to this opportunity in life if they never get exposed? I remember when I was 9 years old, I had decided I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I grew up really in a very poor community. I was in a trailer home. It wasn't like I didn't have all this opportunity. And I had a teacher that took interest in me and drove me to a veterinary hospital, and I got to watch surgeries for a day. And I think that's probably impacted my enthusiasm about just seeing that happen and see, what you can do, and then the animal can heal and be whole is pretty magical. And sharing that magic is what I'm really excited about.
Very cool. Are you going to have a partnership with maybe getting recruiters down there, like say you have a high school class that comes through and they watch some of these, surgeries and whatnot. Like, will you have people on hand and be like, does this interest you? Maybe you should check this out. This is something you can make a career out of. And
Right. Yep. So one of the displays is going to have that, but we're also, especially in our healthy pet clinics, we have handouts on job opportunities, trying to get people excited about it. We will have all kinds of information of what's available for jobs at the organization. Right now, we have a minimum age of 18 to work, but we have junior volunteers, and we're doing some paid volunteer positions to try to help diverse folks be able to have a volunteer experience when they would have to work, and they wouldn't have that opportunity if we didn't pay in those positions. So we're just creating those right now to try to create a better opportunity for diverse folks.
well, that's awesome, because that's one of the factors that stops people from doing those things is they got to work. And so that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's see if I'm going to check the chats real quick, see if we have anything else coming in on YouTube and whatnot.
I hope people are as excited about this as we are. And I think, in January, well, it's really exciting and terrifying to think about what's going to happen with all those people getting excited about the work that we do. But I could say nationally, we're being watched. CSU in this program and the Dumb Friends League is spurring an excitement in organizations that want to create access to veterinary care, organizations that want to increase diversity. It's a huge deal nationally, and it'll be fun to see if it takes off in other places as well.
Definitely. Well, we don't have any other questions, but I just want to thank you so much tonight, Apryl, for going over, some of the just variety of things you guys are going to offer, the opportunities for kids in the community, families to have, the care that they wouldn't be able to afford. This is just such a great, opportunity for everyone in the community. It's not just Dumb Friends League, the university, it's the whole community. And that's what I like about this, is that you are just coming in the community and you're helping all. And I just want to thank you so much for, spreading the word with some fellow Rams about these opportunities and just what is happening here in Denver.
My pleasure. Go Rams, fellow Rams. I wish I could see you, but hi, fellow Rams.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And everyone, thank you for attending tonight, and Apryl for just showcasing some of the great things that are happening at SPUR. And we will have this available soon on YouTube, and feel free to share out with all your friends that couldn't attend tonight. And we'll see you hopefully in person in the future, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.